everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Dennis. So today's video we're going to talk about MSI's MPG X570 Gaming Edge Wi-Fi motherboard. Okay, we'll get it out of the box, we'll have a look what comes with it, and then we'll go over it a little bit. Of course, one thing I wanted to mention is with everything that's going on today, hope you're staying safe, hope you're healthy, and if you need to chat, leave me a comment. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. All right. Trying times for sure. So let's get on to something a little bit more, well, different. And take our minds off of what's going on. So stay tuned. Here we go. Okay, so here's our first look at the box that it comes in. So we're going to open it up and see what's inside. It's well packaged. I'll lift this up. We'll get to this in a minute. Of course, it's the most important thing, but let's see what else is inside here. So I'll move that out of the way. And we get our typical SATA cables, a couple of those, and we have an RGB cable. So we'll find out what that's for a little bit later here. We have our antennas because it's Wi-Fi, of course. And we have our M.2 screw. Okay. What else do we have? Oh, you like stickers? Well, there's a true gaming sticker to put on your case once you've done your build, which is kind of cool. Like that. And another M.2 screw. And of course our drivers CD, always helpful. Now, when it comes to the driver CD, make sure you can use those at first, but make sure you go to AMD's website after and download the most current, latest drivers. Okay, because there's bound to be changes. Okay, we have a little pamphlet from MSI, showing all their products, all that kind of good stuff. Gee, they really loaded this one down. Just thank you for choosing MSI and offering just to register your product, and some stickers for your cables and different things if you want to label them. And last but not least, you have a quick installation guide, followed by a MSI shout out and chance to win stuff, I guess. All right. And of course, our user manual. Okay. Show you all your pin layouts, everything like that. Good to go. So that is all that's in a box. So let's get to the heart of the matter, the motherboard itself. Okay, so we're going to go over a little bit of the specs for this board. It has a 4-pin and an 8-pin for power. So what that means is you're going to have 45 amp, 540 watt maximum power delivery. So you can use it with just the 8-pin. The extra 4-pin is if you want to plan to overclock or an extreme overclocker. It'll give you the ability to go that much further. Something I did notice on here was pretty cool. They got a play hard, stay safe, Zero Frozer. Basically, it's their design on their fans. It'll give more life. It's a little bit different than some of the other ones I've seen. You can actually spin the fan and all that kind of good stuff. But anyway, it's got a little bit longer life. It has the Lightning Gen 4 M.2 drives. Okay, so you've got one here, and we're right here, and I do believe there's another one, but it could be wrong. Nope. Okay, so you've got one right there, which I like to have two, but take what you can get sometimes. Okay, it also has a core boost, so a digital power design, so for multi-core CPU, so it'll run some of your first gen, like 15 or 16, 1700 CPUs, first, second, third gen CPUs, no problems at all. There's even a rumor that maybe this might work for the 4th generation CPUs yet to come out. So that'll be nice to find out. You got your AMD Turbo USB. So you get 2 times faster speed out of your USB, which are right here. Okay, so you get 2 USBs. You've got your 3.0 Now I'm going to move in, I believe, just want to verify. So yes, you've got your front panel connectors here, yeah, through USB 3.0, two USB 2.0s, your COM port, or actually, is that a COM port or trusted platform module? So let me double check. So yes, that's a COM port. And of course you have a system fan header, you got 1, 2, and 3, and even 4. So they're all on this side, which is a little unusual, but at least you have lots to choose from. You have your JFP1 here. This is your trusted platform module right here. They label it JTPM1. And of course you've got your RGB header there. And you have another, that's your HD audio port right here. So just so you're aware. Of course, up on the top, we have our 24 pin for the power supply. We have a fan pump. We'll get to the other side of the board after. Of course, we have 4 DDR4 slots. Now, these 4 slots are dual channel, and they go up to 4400 overclock, which is pretty significant. So moving back just one more time to your M.2 drive right here. Okay, it is a Lightning Gen 4 M.2, and it has the latest Gen 4 solution up to 64 gigabytes per second. It does have pre-installed I/O shield, and I'll show you that here in a minute. And of course, it has your Mystic Light, which is 16.8 million colors, and has up to 29 LED effects. Now, it also has 1, 2, and 3 of the PCIe 3.0 times 1 slots. And of course, it's got your PCIe 4.0, okay, just to make sure that you know that's there. So PCI Express 4.0 times 16 slot. And of course, like I mentioned already, it has your HD audio and it has a gigabyte LAN. Now, I just want to point out something else here. That, of course, these are your AMD brackets. And I've had a couple comments from people saying, hey, I don't have those brackets anymore. So I want to point it out that when you take these off, if you're putting an aftermarket cooler on, make sure you keep these brackets, because you don't know if you're going to need them for that aftermarket cooler. If you're using a stock cooler, it'll probably just be fine. CPU, of course, is going to go in here. That's your AM4 socket. So, of course, we look at the back. We've got our attached I/O shield, and you've got USB 2.0, 3.2. So, having a look at the back of your case, you've got your flash BIOS button here. Okay, so for flash BIOS port, which is right there. And of course, you've got your USB Type 2. Okay, you have your antennas, of course, and this is for the old style mice and keyboard. And as you move over the board, as I said, we have our USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type A, and of course our HDMI. And moving further over, we have our USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type A, and of course Type C. Okay, and of course we have our LAN port and 2 more USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type A ports, and of course all our audio ports. Okay, so you've got your spiffed out right here, and of course you have our microphone in, all that kind of good stuff, speakers, etc. So one thing I want to point out is on the motherboard itself here, you can see the line traced across and goes up. And that's protecting your audio for your audio tracing. And of course, right here is where your audio boost is at. So we're going to move on to the other side, show you a little bit more. Okay, so this has got something quite unique on this board that I haven't seen before. So you have your CPU fan, of course, here. You have JBL1, so RGB, and it says J Rainbow 2. Okay, so I'll explain that to you in just a couple minutes here. And of course, on the far left, so a couple things. This one right here, okay, get that up nice and close. Nowhere in the manual does it tell me what that is. All it actually says is JSMB1. So if anybody out there knows what that is, please put a comment there, and I'll put it in my description so people know, because nowhere can I find what that is. Another thing I want to point out, I said it had one M.2 drive. No, it has an M.2 drive, so you have one screw here, another one here, another one here. So you take this little piece out, and you'll find the other M.2 drive underneath here. So Actually, I'm going to do that just so we can have a look. Okay, so these little screws, you're going to need a little smaller screwdriver in order to take them off. And then it's going to lift right off. So we're just going to take this off. Okay, you can see that. And let's have a look here. So you do have the little plastic. All right, so you do have the little plastic. So make sure you take that off when you put your M.2 in there. And there's our other M.2 right here. So keep that in mind. Don't forget that's there, because that's where you want to put your first M.2. And of course, the next one is going to go down the bottom. Okay, so just something to keep in mind. The other thing is that those screws were in there super tight. So just be aware they're going to be really much snugger than they are once you tighten them. So it's on there, in my opinion, too tight. So when you're putting it on, just line up your screws here. This one is going to be a little trickier than the other ones, but not a big deal. And then it just fastens all back down. And so there's your first M.2, your second M.2 is right over here. You have 6 SATA ports, you have another USB 3.0, which is always nice. And on this end of the board, that's pretty much all you've got. Of course, I've already pointed out the fan pump. All right, so that's it on that side. So along with taking your plastic off here, there's also a bit of plastic on here, so make sure you take this off. Should be a tab here somewhere, there we go. And so just peel that off. All right, nice and shiny. So here's a quick look at the back of our motherboard. Okay, that's just your back plate that you usually sometimes have to take off and replace with another one for any aftermarket coolers. You can see all the soldering, everything is pretty standard. You've got a couple warnings for case standoff, keep out of zones, because if you contact those, you'll probably fry the motherboard. Just a guess, but I mean, I'm not an expert on this stuff, but if it's saying that, I'm assuming that's what it's going to be. So nothing fancy here, nothing too much. So we'll move back to the front. So sometimes I always like to include your DIMMs so you can see how they go. So if you have a single slot, okay, it goes like this. Okay, if you got two RAM slots, and of course if you have 4. So just to give you a little bit of where to go, where they go into. And I want to show you this one because this I find pretty important. So you got any of your cables from your case, shows you where your JFP1, okay, it shows you where they all go, and then you have a diagram showing you how to fit them in, okay? So right here, okay, so you pay attention to this diagram, orient yourself to it, and you won't have any problem putting your case fans and everything, or not case fans, but putting in your fans from your cables from your case. That's what I meant to say. So I just kind of like to show that sometimes because people, those are things that can trick people up every now and then. Now something else I did catch my eye, and I'm not sure the significance of it, is that it says 3903. So I don't know if that's the number that this one happens to be in terms of when it was made or something else. So if you know that, please leave me a comment. I find that very interesting. And one other thing I like to point out is I get some questions about the audio in the back and where does everything go. So I like to show that every now and then. So you can see here, okay, all the different configurations you can have depending on what you're doing. Headphones, speakers, TV, all that kind of good stuff. So just something else to add to it. And I like to show you this too, so you can see all the different connections, where they are, all that. Because every now and then you throw your menu out and you're like, holy crap, I need that now. And now you've got it. You can see all the different settings, where they are all at. It gives you kind of a lowdown. And one of the things to point out is, like I said, right up here in this corner, okay, there's a pin, but it doesn't show you in the manual what it is or what it's for. So if you know what that's for, shoot me a comment, please. All right, everybody, so that's the end of the video. One of the things I do like about this board is the fact that it's MSI. Now, not like an MSI shrew or nothing like that. God knows they're not paying me. But I find their BIOS information, everything, how to use it, their app, everything, I find it very user-friendly. And I think for most people, that's what they're looking for. They want to be able to look at it and in plain language know what they're getting, what do they have to do to make that happen, etc. They have a very clear, plain menu when you go into your BIOS of how to use Game Boost and what you're supposed to do and all this kind of stuff. One thing about Game Boost to keep in mind, don't do Game Boost and then do all your overclocks or set it back to defaults after you're done, because it's going to wipe that out. It's not going to work anymore. So they tell you, go ahead and do your overclocking, do your XMP overclocking to set for your RAM memory, and then hit your Game Boost. So not sure how that works or why that works that way, but that's just something to point out. Intuitive motherboard, great software to go along with it. So that's it. So like the video, hit that like. If you don't, you know what to do. Leave me a comment. A couple things there I wasn't sure of, like the number on it, what the heck that stands for. Is that just a production model? That's when it was made, or is there something more to it? And that little pin in the corner that doesn't show up in any of the manuals, let me know. If you know what that is, I'd really appreciate it. So thanks for watching. If you're new here, think about subscribing. Think about hitting that bell for future video notifications. And stay tuned for the next one. And hopefully by that time, I hope, well, I actually won't, because it's only, I do a video every week. Down the road, we'll forget about all this craziness that's going on. But stay safe, be careful, take care of your family and your friends as best you can. God bless.